Alright, my friends, I am just going to come out and say it right out the gate of this video. I think that the Sith Triumvirate might be a bit too overpowered. This is crazy. Look at this. I am showing you now footage of the Sith Triumvirate basically owning every meta team that we see currently in the game with just those three. All that you need is Darth Sion, Darth Nihilus, and Darth Traya in the leadership spot, and you can handle pretty much anyone. Now, something to keep in mind, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to talk a little bit about the attack strategy. I'm going to show against a bunch of different team combinations. This is mainly, if you want to do this, it's still not going to be necessarily the most practical. I think on defense, people will probably have an easy time beating you because they're just going to know to annihilate Traya, and then they should be okay. And the AI won't be smart enough to get rid of your Nihilus if you're using Nihilus. But either way, the fact that these three characters on offense are able to steamroll this much of the meta, to me, is a big wow. This is crazy, and let me tell you a little bit about how this works. There is so much synergy in the Sith Triumvirate, which is really, really strongly contributing to this. And just in review, for Darth Nihilus and his new unique reworked ability, when Traya or Sion have a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter, and he gains 30% max stacking health until the end of the encounter. So this health just keeps going up and up and up and up. And you'll notice here in a lot of these battles, Nihilus is taking hits, pretty significant hits, and it's doing next to no damage. That is going to be a big part of why this works. Sion, when he takes crit hits, when Traya or Nihilus take crit hits, are going to reduce the cooldowns of Held by Hatred. Again, this functionality here is going to contribute to the survivability of the team. You want to take crit hits at the beginning of these battles, because when you do, Sion is going to be able to use Held by Hatred a lot sooner, and once he gets Held by Hatred up, he is going to be very hard to take down, and it's going to make this trio work that much better. And then, of course, Traya. Let's not forget her. We're going to combine these two. When there's crit hits or debuffs on Nihilus or Sion, Traya gains 12% offense stacking for 2 turns. So at least that doesn't go to the end of the encounter. It's just going to be for 2 turns. But holy cow, you can see here, Traya is going to hit like a truck. And what's nice, it's almost, in my opinion, it's almost better having just the 3 together, because you have a guarantee that the trio is going to get attacked, and so there's going to be some kind of bonus going on during the encounter because you don't have 2 other characters there. I really feel like those other 2 characters in a lot of ways are just not that necessary, unless it's, I guess, from a defensive standpoint. Maybe you want to have another tank in there to distract from hitting the Sith Triumvirate, but in some ways you get, in a lot of ways you get penalized for hitting them. So I have not tested what this trio looks like on defense. I'm really kind of curious to ask the other game changers to fight me and see how that goes. But ultimately, you benefit from so much that happens to you. You're able to take such a beating. This team is able to survive. You'll notice in most of these battles, the Sith Triumvirate gets to the end of the battles and they still have full health. Just protection knocked off, or sometimes they've even got bonus protection left over. And Traya is just going to be hitting like a freight train, and it's just absolutely crazy. So if you want to run this, again, this is for fun, in my opinion. This is not going to be the ideal meta combination from a defensive perspective. But a lot of you don't necessarily play this game because you want to do anything other than just have a lot of good fun. And if you're a good KOTOR fan, I don't know about you guys, there's just something about using just the Sith Triumvirate that feels pretty sweet to me. I'm actually pretty stoked about it. So just keep that in mind. It's not necessarily going to be the most logical combo, but from an offensive standpoint, this is fun. And I've been testing this team out for the last 24 hours or so. I've done tons of battles here. These are just the last ones that I recorded before doing this video, and it it's a fun combo to run. So just some attack strategy notes if you are running it. It's not going to be OP enough in a lot of cases to auto. I think most teams you're going to be able to auto, but against the Nightmare teams, which are really going to be kind of seen as the existing meta, it's not going to work as well on auto because the AI doesn't understand that you need to get Nihilus out of there. And so what I found happened on any of the battles I tested on auto is that Nihilus was left alone, and as a result, one by one, the Triumvirate could survive forever, but then they just one by one get picked off by Nihilus because they were too dumb to go actually pick off the other Nihilus. So that's something to keep in mind. You also really want to get held by hatred up as soon as possible. It's ideal. It's not critical though. You'll see in some of these battles, I think there's one or two that I'm throwing up here where Sion did not get held by hatred up in time and he was taken out of the battle. But Darth Nihilus and Traya were survivable enough, and Traya was able to do enough damage. Nihilus had his Annihilate that they were able to carry the rest of the battle, just those two. So maybe you just need two. I don't know. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You also want to, when you do isolate, you're going to want to do it on characters that are going to be buffing the other team. So keep that in mind. That's just general Traya attack strategy. But I like giving, when you select the ally to give protection to, protection up, and also to take a cooldown from. I like to take Sion. Some might think to take Nihilus so you can get closer to Annihilate, but at the beginning of the battle, what I feel is more important is getting held by hatred up there as soon as possible, just so you can be sure that Sion is going to be surviving throughout the battle as well. And something I noticed fighting most of these teams is, I mean, there's really not a whole lot of attack strategy that goes into it. It was kind of mindless. I'm sure I'm making tons of mistakes in here, and I'm not doing necessarily the ideal combinations. I mean, against Rey Jedi training teams, I think it's really good to put Isolate on Rey so that you can burn through her. That seems to help a lot as well. Maybe BB-8 would be good to put that on also. The Nightmare teams, it gets a little more specific. In my personal opinion, what I found worked the best, at least what gave me the most conclusive victories, was when I focused on Nihilus first. And the reason for this is because when you've got just these three, an Annihilate can really, really throw off your groove. If you've got a team of 5 and one of your characters gets annihilated, it's not always going to be the hero all to say all. You might still be able to recover from that, but when you're only using 3 characters on 5, an Annihilate could really, really hurt you, especially if Traya gets annihilated. That can be bad news if you're running this team. So I gunned down Nihilus first. I actually don't worry about Sion. And the reason for that is because I fully expect that he will put held by hatred up. That's okay. I'm just going to annihilate him. That is going to be what I save my Nihilus for, and I don't need to worry about, if you're going against Nightmare, the only taunt that you have is going to be Sion, so you don't need to worry about somebody else having a taunt up so that you can't annihilate who you want to, as Sion will be able to do that. So that is what I do with the Nightmare team. I go for, for Nihilus, and then for Sion, and then I go for Palp. That is kind of the general kill order that I'm going for on that team. So ultimately on offense, if you are able to get Darth Traya, in my opinion, this really is all that you need against the current meta. Now let me emphasize the current meta, because Darth Traya is changing the meta. This is definitely a meta changing character. When people start unlocking Traya in your shards, you're going to see her. She is going to be everywhere for everybody who has her. I doubt there's going to be very many unlocking her that don't plan on using her immediately. Something to keep in mind is that this probably isn't going to be as ideal against Traya herself, so that you're probably going to need a full team, and the jury's kind of out on what the ideal 2 characters are to put there. If you're going to run 2 other characters there, I think Sith Trooper works really well. I think Thrawn works really well in this combo. But it really, at the end of the day, it really begs the question to me, is this overpowered? And to me, I feel like this is borderline too much, in my opinion. Traya is hitting very, very, very hard. She's got this offense stacking. It can only go for 2 turns, but I've seen her do upwards of 50,000 on her basic, which is insane. And then the survivability of these 3 is just, I mean, it's almost like Barriss Offee status where they're just, you just can't kill them. The only way to take them out is going to be with Imperial Probe Droid. As Arnold showed in his video, Imperial Probe Droid does seem to be pretty effective against them. The other option is going to be to just annihilate them with your own Nihilus. Maybe death mark them with a Death Trooper, but ultimately the survivability of this team is on a level like I don't think we've ever seen before. I mean, you watch these battles, they just keep regenerating health, and Nihilus has so much health stacking that he gets really, really tough to kill. Traya has protection up that she's gaining like crazy, so she's hard to penetrate. The survivability, I mean, it's not just about the DPS. It's to me, it's more about the survivability, which seems to be on a level that may need to be adjusted. So, what are some of your thoughts about this combo? Are you surprised to see that the three work together against all these teams? What do you think are going to be the ideal 2 characters to throw in here? We've seen a lot of streams about this now. I think Mobile Gamer is doing one while I'm filming this video. I know McMole did one last night where I think he actually, I heard he tested this combo as well with just the 3 and not 2 other supporting characters. What do you think out of everything you've seen, or for those of you who are actually testing here, what do you think are going to be the ideal 2 characters to put with the Triumvirate? Or do you think that Traya could work by herself? Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you so much, my friends, for the support. It means so much. I really enjoy making videos for you guys. As always, let me know what videos you want to see, what combinations you want to try. I try to read everything. I try to make videos about as much as I can. I can't always get to everything, but I will certainly do my best. Thank you so much, and as always, my brothers, don't forget.
For my dead body. Sorry about the mess.